This is the Faraday Porter Class 1 pedal assist electric bike. There's so much to say about this thing, and I guess really the first piece is just how it looks. It's beautiful, and it's available in 3 different sizes, sort of a small, medium, and large, to fit a wide range of riders. It uses a Shimano Alpine 8-speed internally geared rear hub. And the neat thing about this is that you can switch gears at stop if you need to, and it's internal. So there's no grease, there's no chain to mess with or worry about and derailleurs. You can see that this uses a Gates carbon belt drive here, and it's a center track design. Maybe you can see there's kind of a little plastic piece in the center of these cogs here, and that keeps the chain on track, or in this case the belt. And the belt is just super quiet. You don't have to worry about grease. It's, you know, there's no chain guard here because the belt is much cleaner than a chain. But they did include a nice aluminum bash guard, and that's going to protect the teeth if you come in contact with a curb or something like that. So it's really neat to see a drivetrain that's set up this way. But one of the challenges to doing a setup like this is that you can't use a rear-mounted hub motor. I've actually seen some from Bionix where it's a motor and it's internally geared hub, but they only have 3 speeds. This has 8, so you're going to be able to climb easier, reach higher speeds more efficiently than trying to pedal at a higher cadence. So I love this design, but again, that means that the motor is in the front. And what we're looking at here is a geared hub motor from 8Fun, and it actually uses torque sensing activation. And so right here in the bottom bracket, you can see there's sort of this plastic internalized bottom bracket, and it has a torque sensor built right in, and that creates just a really smooth and very responsive assistance when you're pedaling. So it's an interesting setup, and one of the challenges of using front hub motors is that there's increased weight and stresses on the frame, and so a lot of times it's recommended that you use a steel fork because they're just a little bit more durable. And in fact, the whole frame here is chromoly steel, and so, you know, indeed, this is strong enough to support it. And at 250 watts, that's just about right. You know, not a whole lot of extra weight, not too much torque going on, but enough that a lighter weight bike like this, that's, you know, 39, 40 pounds tops is how much this weighs. That's very light for an electric bike. So again, this motor is actually fairly efficient, and the bike it feels and it just rides more like a traditional bicycle, which I love. And the steel frame has the added benefit of being just smooth and sort of vibration dampening as you're riding around. So I love the setup. You know, you've got mountain biking type electric bikes, and you've got, you know, higher speed racing ones, and then maybe you've got city or kind of commuter. And I feel like this it finds a niche and it just nails it in so many ways. And of course the aesthetics. So let me get back to some of these other drivetrain features. We've got the nice Shimano levers here, and they activate your 160 millimeter disc brakes right here, Avid BB7, front and rear. Excellent stopping power, really elegant, clean design again, and you'll notice that the cabling all matches. It's white, and in some cases run through the frame, which is really nice. You've got this scissoring style kickstand, and having 2 legs like that actually makes it a little bit easier to mount and load this thing. So you'll see that it's got the Porter rack, which is an additional accessory. It's like $225, $250, so it does cost a little bit extra. But if you're looking for something with that kind of neat aesthetic and the ability to actually transport a decent amount of weight, it says 10 kilograms max here. This is a great option, and it's just mounted right onto the frame. It doesn't turn when you turn the handlebars. Again, it's easy to load with that double-legged kickstand. I think they've done a good job with that, and that's sort of the iconic piece of this. They've also included a decent set of aluminum alloy pedals. They don't have rubber. They're not going to slip. They give you decent traction and a fairly good space. You know, it's just a platform pedal, and they match that vintage styling, but they actually work pretty well. I should say one thing that is sort of missing here, and I call this out a lot on electric bikes, is there's no water bottle bosses to add a cage. And I believe on the smallest frame, you know, it would have been a little tight right here, and since they have the batteries in the down tube, that presented some issues. So I think they're working on maybe like a clamp-on thing for the future. And with the rack in the front, there are some other options, but that's maybe a con or something that I noticed that's a little bit trickier. People also ask about the battery, how you can remove it, and you can see down there, there's this like rubber flap, and then there's also this plastic piece on the back. So if you needed to remove these, again, to honor that 2-year warranty, or if there was some kind of issue, it is removable, but it's not the kind of thing that you want to take out of the bike to charge. Like basically you have to charge the bike using the plug, which means you probably got to bring this inside. But again, at about 40 pounds, this is a lot more liftable than some of the other electric bikes I've seen. And in terms of climbing, I wanted to call that out. You know, this isn't a 500 watt motor. It's not a mid-drive that, you know, actually leverages the gears. But I found, again, just the efficiency of this bike, and with those 8 speeds to use as long as you're pedaling along, you can actually climb fairly efficiently in this, especially with that second level of like power assistance. It's a decent climber, and the guys who built this are from San Francisco. There are hills there, and they've tested them on those hills, and I've actually tried it there too, and was fairly impressed. So, you know, this is going to help you with the wind. It's going to help you with hills, and really give you those benefits of an electric bike up to 20 miles per hour. And then if you want to go faster than that, of course you can pedal beyond that, especially with, you know, gear 7, gear 8. You know, if you really put some energy into it, the bike's not going to slow you down, and that freewheeling hub motor is also not going to create any drag, which is really nice. In addition to those 3 frame sizes, the Porter is also available in 2 color schemes, and we're looking at sort of the cream white here, but they also have a dark green, and both of these are meant to be sort of classic and match those older vintage bikes. And even the handlebars, they match that old school sort of Porter look, but they're actually very comfortable, and they sort of bring the bars back to you, so you don't have to lean especially far forward, and it's very comfortable. They almost achieve the cruiser feel, but you'll notice that they're a little bit narrower than the really big scooped ones that you might see on like a Patago cruiser, that kind of thing. I love that they've been able to accomplish a bike that's comfortable, you know, with that steel frame and those slightly larger tires, but also practical. When you ride this, you're looking up, your head, and you'll see this in the ride test later, but you can spot where you're going, and you're not going to get a sore neck or a stiff back. So that's awesome. And this was initially a Kickstarter project, and I think the original backers kind of got the rack, and now, you know, it's a little bit extra for that, or for this leather, pouch here in the middle, and they've improved the design on that. It's got the Allen key in there. So it's neat to see that it's been refined and refined again and refined again. They're actually working on a rear rack at this time as well, which they're going to try to adapt to work with standard child seats, probably from Yep and the like. So it's really cool, but in the meantime, it does have these bosses right here on the seat stays. It's also got these bamboo fenders that you can see, and I did a water test with them in one of the other videos I shot, and they work pretty well. You know, it actually keeps the spray, from hitting your feet and shins pretty well, because they are full length here in the front, and the tires themselves, 26 by 1.5, they do a pretty good job of being efficient, but also giving you a little bit of cushion. You know, they're a little bit softer. They aren't quite as narrow as like a road bike, but again, they've got that efficient tread there. Before I forget, I want to call out these nice LED lights. They've got a special mounting point on the rack if you've got that, like this, or if you don't have the rack, that light will mount right here in the middle of the handlebars, right there on the stem. So very cool. Also a rear light, and they're both built in, and they stay powered on at all times when you're riding, and they're actually pretty effective. One of the neat things that they've done here is they set it up so that as you're using the battery, if you completely drain the battery, well, not completely, but almost completely, the motor won't run anymore. But they do save a little bit of capacity to run these LED lights, kind of for safety. So I feel like, you know, that's just one example of all the attention to detail that they've put into this thing. And it's neat that they were thinking about safety. Again, even riding this in off mode, it feels a lot more like a regular bike than some of the other electric bikes I've tried. So anyway, let me get back to some of the drive specs on this thing. So again, the motor is a 250 watt geared front hub motor with freewheeling, so it's not going to create any resistance if you're pedaling without power. And then the battery is actually in this down tube right here. On the prototypes, they were putting it in those 2 top tubes. Now it's in the down tube. It's 43 volt, 5.8 amp hours with Panasonic lithium-ion cells. That's pretty solid. You know, that higher voltage gives you a feeling of torque and power when you're starting, but it's combined with the efficiency of that motor. And the whole bike, the motor, the batteries, the frame, everything has a 2-year warranty. And they've got a program where, you know, you buy this thing. They were designed by, well, the company was started by a fellow named Adam Vollmer, and he used to work for IDEO, and he's created this company on Kickstarter and everything. But they really want this to be a great experience when you buy it. So if you buy it, it's free shipping, and then they have it assembled at a local shop. So it gives your local shop some business, and then you know it's assembled right. And they have like a 30-day, you know, try it, or if you don't like it, you can kind of send it back. And there is like a $200 restocking fee, but it's kind of neat for a company that's sort of virtual right now to have a program where they're really trying to, you know, guarantee that quality. And again, 2-year warranty, just really solid. So it's about $3,500 for this bike. You are paying a little bit more, but you're getting that beautiful aesthetic, those higher quality components, the warranty, and just something that's very unique. Well, I should say, compared to some of the older prototypes, they've got this new Cell Royale saddle. Before they had Brooks saddle, and that can take a while to break in, and so they did some testing, and they were like, okay, you know, this is a nice, comfortable saddle. They've also got the leather grips up here. The way the bike works to get it going, you hold the power button for a couple seconds back here. It lights up. There's the lights. Here's the charging port, by the way, and that's sort of the controller unit in there. There's the front light we saw earlier. So now we're on. That's your control panel right there. It's all right there, built into this little plastic piece, and it actually uses e-ink in there. So there's no like backlit stuff going on. There's no LCD display telling you how fast you're going, how far you've gone, that kind of thing, which at first seems like a bummer. But then you look at this, and you're like, man, it's so clean. Very easy to use. All you have to do is switch down to power mode or boost mode, and as you do that, that automatically tells it, you know, turn on the power for pedal assist or give them a little extra power. So it's very, very simple and intuitive to use. It just blends in perfectly. And in early 2015, they'll be launching an app to work with your smartphone, and these already have Bluetooth enabled, so they'll be backwards compatible. If you already own a Faraday Porter, it'll work with this new app. So I love that they've sort of externalized some of those readouts, some of that information, and kept the bike itself very, very simple. And that also allows them to do updates and to do more fancy things in the future versus having like a built-in, you know, plastic thing that might be more vulnerable and of course add expense to the bike when you already have a smartphone. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop on this thing and take off and, you know, show you how it sounds and how it works. To do the kickstand, I found if you just grab the back of the seat like that, and we're ready to ride. Perch. I'm gonna start off in just off mode, basically. See, it's just so quiet. Now I'm going to do the first level of assist, and you should be able to hear the motor. It gets you going. You definitely notice that it's on, and that's just the first level. But go ahead and turn this on to the second level. We'll cruise back through the park here. Just click it down. Really gets you going very smoothly, but still, you know, not too loud. There's the disc brake being activated there. Does a pretty good job. Oh man, I'm gonna do that one more time from the other side so you can kind of see. And I'm also gonna switch down one gear, and you'll notice I can do that even though I'm not pedaling because of that internally geared hub in the rear. So here we go. here are some of the accessories that you get with the Porter. You get a quick start guide that was actually pretty well done, and 2 chargers. And so these are actually designed to make it easier for you to charge like at home and at the office. And it goes pretty quick. It's like a 3-hour charge from empty, and it's a 51.4 volt charger. Even though it's a bright day out, I've just pulled into the garage here and you can see the light in action. They're pretty impressive. They do a pretty good job, and even though the rear one's a little bit small, I mean, there's room to mount one on that seat post if you wanted to, and this is definitely better than nothing. If you lock it up like I was doing and forget to turn the bike off, you can actually expect it to turn itself off automatically after 10 minutes. So that's another neat feature. Just, you know, protects itself, and that's going to help the battery from expiring. If you're at work and you get distracted or something like that, it automatically goes off. Otherwise, you hold this for a couple seconds like this, and then it powers down.
Oh, it's working.
Yeah, nice.
So quiet. So quiet and smooth. Wow.
So you just got to go ride it and test the different modes. What do you think about the switch? Like,
Very easy to use, amazing. So smooth, and it looks like off, low, and then high
yep.
power. And
And then those are the gears. That's the
yeah,
8 speeds.
the gears were just very smooth.
How about the riding position? Because, I mean, this has a higher top tube. Do you feel all right standing over it?
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm a 5'4" woman, and I still have an inch in here. It's very amazing bike.
Yeah.
Wow, and very comfortable. The handlebars.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to get another perspective and see someone on the bike. This is my mom, and just, you know, she's an avid cyclist, but kind of new to the electric bike space. And
Oh, it's a blast. Thank you, honey.
so that is the official final version Faraday Porter. For the full specs on this, including all the details about components and stuff, I'll see you back at electricbikereview.com.